so welcome, and let's get started. With your main color, we will be starting from the top of the sock down to the toe. Let's start with a slip knot. I will be using a 5mm crochet hook. Let's chain 47. Keeping your chain straight, join with a slip stitch. Chain 1 and single crochet in that first chain and all the way around. You should have a total of 46 single crochet. Slip stitch to join in the top of the first single crochet. Chain 1 and turn your work. Starting in that first single crochet, we will single crochet all the way around for another 46 single crochet total. Slip stitch to join in the top of the first single crochet. Chain 1 and turn. We are going to repeat this pattern until you have approximately 10 inches or 25 centimeters and an even amount of rows. You will definitely have that center seam down the back. That will be the back of our sock. Cut your yarn and pull through. We can now weave in the two ends. The seam will be at the back of the sock. Find the center and count over 11 stitches and place a marker. Count over 11 on the other side as well and place a marker. This will be 22 stitches including the markers. The remaining stitches will equal 24. That will be the front of the sock. This is what the heel will look like when it is done. I will use a different color to make it easier to see. Start in the marker. Insert your hook and pull up the yarn. Chain 1 and start your first single crochet in that same stitch. I like to pull my starting yarn out to the back. We can now do single crochet across. We will have 22 in total. This is number 11. We don't go into that joining stitch, go into the other one. So there's 12, 13, and all the way across until we have 22. And 22 will be in that marker. Just remove the marker and put our last stitch. We can then chain 1 and turn. Starting in the first stitch, we're going to do another 22 single crochet across. Chain 1 and turn. Again, starting in the first stitch, this time we will do 14 single crochet. We will then chain 1 and turn. This time we are going to do 6 single crochet. Chain 1 and turn. This should now bring us to the center of our sock and our heel so we can start shaping it. For this next row, we are going to do 6 single crochet plus 1 more in the row below. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then our plus 1 is going to be down in the row below. Make sure the tension is quite tight on this stitch. We will then chain 1 and turn. Always starting in the very first stitch. This time we're going to do 7 single crochet plus 1. So working all the way across. 6. Sorry, this is 6. And this is 7. And then our 8th one is the row below, making sure it's nice and snug. and chain 1 and turn. Let's keep continuing this pattern. So for row 7, we will have 9 stitches. Row 8 will be 10 stitches. Continue this pattern and stop after 21 single crochet are in the row. We have now reached our final row. This is going to be stitch 20 and this is going to be stitch 21. This time we are not going to do a chain 1, we are just going to turn. Start in that same first stitch and we're going to do 21 single crochet across, and then we're going to do a slip stitch into number 22. This will give us a nice edge. We can now cut the yarn and pull through and weave in our ends. We will now start in the center of the heel. Just find center by putting your heel together and finding that center stitch. Let's insert our hook and pull up the yarn. Just on a side note, I had to double my yarn for the white sparkle to make it more compatible with my turquoise yarn. Chain 1 and start in the same stitch. Again, I just pull my starting loop out just for a better finish. Single crochet until you have reached the inside corner. On the side of the heel, just put about 3 single crochet down the side stitches. In the corner, we will do a single crochet together. So insert into one side, drop the loop, insert into the other side, drop a loop, yarn over and pull through all three. This will tighten up our corner. We can now single crochet to the next corner. We will now do another single crochet two together. So insert our hook into the first one, drop a loop, into the next stitch, drop a loop, yarn over and pull through all three. We will put about 3 single crochet along the edge and keep single crocheting until we have reached the start. We will then slip stitch in the top of the first single crochet. Let's chain one and turn our work. We are going to repeat this for the next 2 rounds, making sure to do a single crochet 2 together in each corner. Remember to slip stitch to join in the top of the first single crochet and do your chain 1 and turn. At this point, we really don't have to count our stitches until we reach one more row, and that's when we're going to want to have 44 single crochet, but we can worry about that in a few minutes. You should now have decreased your last 3 rows in the corners and have 44 single crochet in each round. If you do not have this, you can either increase or decrease your row as needed, but try to have 44 once you reach the top. So you're going to do this until you have approximately 6 inches or 15 centimeters in length and the 44 stitches around. Also, we are going to stop our rows from the inside of the sock. When you have reached your final rows, do not join. We're going to add our new color. So do a slip stitch to join, but pick up your new color, chain 1, and turn your work. We will start in the first stitch and we're going to do the 44 single crochet all the way around. I will change colors again just to make it easier to see. So round 1 is going to be the 44 stitches. We're going to chain 1 and turn. We will be doing a decrease in each row until we have reached the very top for our toe. So for this one, we're going to do 9 single crochet, and then we're going to do a single crochet 2 together, and we're going to repeat that 3 times. So this is number 8 and 9. And we will now do our single crochet 2 together. Repeat, and round 2 will be 40 stitches. And that is the end of our round 2. We're going to chain 1 and turn and do another decrease, but this time we're going to do 8 single crochet and then our single crochet 2 together. So again, starting in that first stitch, 8 single crochet. So that's number 8 and 2 together. Repeat that 3 more times for round 3. This is the end of round 3, and you should have 36 stitches. Slip stitch to join, chain 1 and turn, and we will continue our decrease. This time we will do 7 single crochet with the single crochet 2 together. Continue every row with a decrease until you are left with 16 stitches. I'll join you on round 9. For round 9, we will start with 2 single crochet, followed by a single crochet 2 together. And we will do this 3 more times until we have 12 stitches. That's 2. And 3, and 1 more. So single crochet, and 2 together. And the 2 together. We can now slip stitch to join. Leave a small tail, cut your yarn and pull through. Let's pull all the ends to the inside of the sock. We can now turn our sock inside out. Weave together the end of the toe and all loose ends. Your stocking should now look something like this. For the top of the stocking, we will start in the center of the back. So find that center stitch and pull up a loop. So pull up your loop and do a chain 1. We will do single crochet in the first chain space and in each chain around. So 46 single crochet total. So we're going to try to go into the part of the chain where you have 2 loops on your hook like that. So I'm just going to back it up here. We want to go into the part of the chain where it comes up with 2. So you'll find it and do your single crochet and do that all the way around. So just find that spot where there's 2 pieces of yarn on top. It just makes it for a little bit stronger to put your cuff. At the end of the round, we will do a slip stitch to join and a chain 1 and a turn. So let's repeat this 2 more times for 3 rows total of 46 single crochet in each row. Once we have finished 3 rows, in our next round we will work in the back loop only. We are going to do 2 increases in this round. So starting with our single crochet in the back loop, we will start with 22 single crochet, and then we are going to do an increase. So we will now do 2 single crochet in our next stitch. Keep it into the back loop. So 2 into this stitch, and then another 22 single crochet. And then the next increase at the end. We want 48 stitches at the end of this round. We can then slip stitch to join, but we will not turn this time. We're going to start with the chain 3. This will count as our first double crochet. We will then do 4 more double crochet in that same stitch. The stitch we're going to do is called a shell stitch. And that will be our last one, so it'll be 5 double crochet. We're then going to skip 1 stitch and do a single crochet in the next, skip 1 stitch, and do 5 double crochet in the next stitch. So that's 5. Now skip a stitch, single crochet, skip a stitch, and 5 double crochet. Repeat this all the way around. At the end, we will have a single crochet, and they're going to join in the top of the 3rd chain. So not in the top of the first double crochet, but in the 3rd chain. So if we count up from that bottom, 1, 2, 3, that's where we're going to put our hook, and do the slip stitch to join. We will then do a chain 3 and turn. So working in that single crochet from the round below, we're going to put 4 more double crochet. So that's our 3rd one, 4, and 5, because the chain 3 counts as 1. So that's our 5. We're then going to do the single crochet in the middle of the 5 double crochet from below. So just find that middle one, and we're going to do our single crochet. Then in the single crochet from the round below, again we will do our 5 double crochet. So we're going to repeat this pattern. So after our 5 double crochet in the single crochet from below, we'll do a single crochet in the middle of the 5 double crochet, and then again the 5 double crochet. Repeat this pattern for as many rows as you would like to make. I did 5 rows of the shell stitch for my Elsa sock and only 3 rows for my Anna sock. Let's make a snowflake. I will be using a smaller 3.75mm crochet hook and a smaller number 3 weight yarn. Let's start with a slip knot and chain 2. Starting in the chain 1 space, we are going to put a double crochet. After the double crochet, we will chain 1. We're going to do this 12 times. So double crochet and chain 1. Continue until you have 12 double crochet total. We will then slip stitch to join in the top of that first double crochet. For the next round, we just want to move over into that chain space, so we're going to do a slip stitch to move over. From here, we are going to chain 6. 4, 5, 6, and we're going to slip stitch into the next space. We're going to do this 12 times. So again, chain 6, 6, and slip stitch into the space. Continue until you have 12 loops. We will then again slip stitch over into one of the loops. So let's just go into the loop and slip stitch into that chain space. We will then chain 6. In the third chain from the hook, let's do a single crochet. Then chain 2. We will then slip stitch back into that same space and then slip stitch down our chain, so 3 slip stitches down to the bottom of our chain. So 1, 2, 3, and we'll finish this little arm by slip stitching back into that beginning loop. We will then slip stitch into the next chain space and do a chain 4 and then slip stitch into the next chain space. We're now going to repeat this pattern. So starting with the chain 6, single crochet in the third chain from the hook, then do chain 2, slip stitch into the same stitch, 3 slip stitch down the chain, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into that chain space. Now moving to the next one, slip stitch into that chain space, chain 4, and slip stitch into the next space. Let's repeat this until we've done it 6 times. You can pause here to follow along with the instructions. On your last slip stitch, leave a long tail, about 30 inches or 76 centimeters. We're going to use this to darn it to the sock. So cut your yarn and pull through. You can now attach your snowflake to the sock. I like to pull my center yarn into the back and attach my ends at the end. Take your time darning this snowflake. Just be sure to only grab a small piece of yarn on the sock and not that you're going all the way through. When you are finished, just bring your ends together into the back. Tie your yarn together, pull it to the front, and cut. You should just be left with one small knot in the back. It's now time to make a ponytail or some pigtails. I will be using 6 different bunches of yarn to create this braid. For the on a sock, we will be putting in 2 pigtails, one on each side. You will need the following amount of yarn just for one braid. Fold your first group of yarn in half. We will be putting in 6 sections, so kind of find out where you're going to be putting them approximately. Insert your hook, and from the middle part of your strands, pull in your first strands. So pull the loop through, and just to this point here. You can now pull the strands through the loop and pull snug. Just give each little strand of yarn a pull so it's nice and tight. In the next stitch over, we will do our next strand of yarns. Once you have your 6 strands in place, we can start to braid. We will divide it into 3 sections. Using those 3 sections, we will do our braid down. Keep the strings nice and even. Using an extra piece of yarn, tie the end. We can now trim the bottom. For the other pigtail, I added a strand of off-white, just for the highlight part of her pigtail. Be sure to watch until the very end to see how I finish this beautiful Christmas stocking. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye!